This is Cutting Down the Nets, December 21st, 2021. We are coming off a 1-1 day where St. Thomas cruised and Louisiana Monroe led by 8 with 16 seconds to go with a 4.5-point line and won by 3. But credit to Lamar. That's 2 straight games that they have buried me late and just nothing left to do but tip your cap and call Lamar your daddies. I haven't seen Lamar comebacks like that since he took a giant poop during the football game. So, fun times. Oh well, a split is better than getting goose-egged. Tough slate. It's a big schedule, a big pool, but I think it's full of landmines, and I'll walk through it. It's a tough one. I think in years past, I would have overbet this slate and probably got my teeth kicked in and then wondered why my model is broken. So I'm being a little careful, a little hesitant on stuff, but yeah, it's tricky out there. All right, let's get to it. Ball State, Patty, the model has a 19-point spread. Current line, 13. Eastern Illinois is awful, but can Ball State actually exploit this? I'm not sure. However, the ceiling on Eastern Illinois' offense has been a raw, that's what she said, 0.9 points per possession, not even adjusted for opponent. Just literally can't get over 0.9 points per possession. So I'm going to put this bet down, and I'm just going to say if Ball State hits 75, we cover, and if not, we're going to need some grease. So we'll see what happens, but I'll take it. There's enough variance between the spread and my line, but that one could go to the end. Portland State, Utah State. So here's the good news. Portland State is up tempo. So if Utah was going to cover a big number, or if Utah State was going to cover a big number, this would be it. However, Portland State's defense has been respectable, although they have a rough offense. Utah State's had recent defensive struggles capped off by an absolute slashing by the Murray brothers at the Pentagon. So, I don't know. At 19, maybe live bet, but I am going to sit that one out. Okay, you're going to see a theme of games like this. And the theme is a spread around 2 possessions where I have it closer to a pick'em. So Jacksonville, Pittsburgh. It is possible this game does not break 100. Slow and sloppy. And what I'm hoping is that Pitt is more likely to have empty possessions. Very similar teams, but Pitt turns it over just a little more. Neither team can make jumpers. I don't know if either team can actually make layups or dunks at this point, but very easily could be like 52-48. Something like that, and I don't know who will win, but especially in a grinder, I'll lean towards the points here. But this is elite grinding, like junior high dance. Elite grinding. Next up, another 5-ish point spread. Washington favored over Mark Madsen, the Mad Dogs, Utah Valley. Big edge here on the boards to Utah Valley, and I just prefer their shot selection. So, again, my model says it's a toss-up, and I'll take the points here as well. American and George Mason. This is not the ideal pace to lay a big number, and I think American can get throttled by the right team, but Mason's shot selection is to live more around the 3-point line. And I think American can just be torched inside. So I think there will be spots to attack American, but I don't think Mason is the team. Could be wrong. There's some value there, but you're going to need the shots to fall. So again, I'm being cautious and moving on. Wright State, NC State. Wright State's been torched in the mid-range, and that's not NC State's game. NC State has played to its level of competition as well. When they punch up, performing well. Adjusted efficiencies are all consistent, but same as when they're playing lesser opponents. So um, Wright State may have turned the corner. I'm not sure. We'll see. It's only been one game, but yeah, I just don't think that's the spot. And um, yeah, can't believe Wright State's getting 10. But model likes NC State. I'm just going to sit that one out. Okay, here we are. Oregon State and Nicholls State. I've got as a pick 'em. This is how far we've fallen, Beavers, after our money making run in the Big Dance last year. These are even teams. Like, I get it. One has a bigger name than the other, but Oregon State also, I believe, has won one game, and people will notice that. So I don't think there's going to be a bargain on the line when the record is as bad as it is. I do look for shooters versus the Tinkle zone, as I call it, R. Kelly's bedroom. Wayne Tinkle zones up a lot, and Nicholls State actually fine shooting the basketball. And they have a high usage guard named Ty Gordon, who is their main 3-point shooter. And yeah, I think the bet's going to kind of fall on his shoulders. And man, I just can't believe Oregon State and Nicholls State is tight in Corvallis. It's crazy. All right, moving on. Santa Clara, San Jose State. I'm a Tim Miles guy. And the Ted Lasso stuff just puts it over the top. I mean, I was a Tim Miles guy at NDSU. Thought he got a raw shake, just some bad luck at Colorado State. I mean, God, I hope my kids could play for Tim Miles. I mean, what a guy. However, Santa Clara has cooled off after a hot start. They looked real strong early. I just think San Jose State's due for a 3-point regression at some point. It hasn't happened yet, but I don't want to be holding the ticket when it does. And this is a quality opponent, but team shooting like 41% from three, and they shoot a high rate. So just gonna fade the noise there and just sit that one out as well. Common theme, guys. I mean, plays on paper, and then I dig into it. I'm like, gosh, there's a lot of reasons not to bet that. So I'm just being careful. You can do what you want, but next up is Xavier and Villanova. In the last two games, Nova has gone 10 out of 50 from 3-point range, and then when you go into the Syracuse game, 23 out of 100. We're talking about Villanova here. Not talking about San Jose State. Talking about Villanova. Villanova, man, I don't know. So data like Xavier, but I mean that's gotta come back. So I'm not gonna be there when it does if I'm betting against Nova. So I think I just need to monitor that team for a bit and not get caught there. So just kind of paralyzed on what to do with Villanova. Xavier's been strong. It's just when you're facing a team that shoots like half their shots from 3-point range and are due to make a bunch, it doesn't matter who you are. It's tough sled. Fresno State, Utah State. This is something I'd be interested in, but the line is like 2.5, 3, and I'd like to get more like 5 to go there. I think it's fairly even, but I need some buffer when I believe it's fairly even, and I don't think 3 is enough. Southern Miss, one of the worst offensive teams in the country at East Carolina. I mean, Southern Miss is regularly scoring in the 50s. They've had some 40s pop up. This is just a big number, and it's East Carolina. So not enough for me. If that got closer to the KenPom line of 11, yeah, you could see that pop up on BetStamp for sure. Dartmouth, Cal State Bakersfield, it's close for me, but I don't know. Neither team's very good. Nothing really stood out. So at that number with less than 4 points variance, it's kind of like, it's pushing it a little bit, and I'm trying not to be too aggressive. Next up, another team I am looking to bet against. I think Mississippi is pretty fraudulent at this point. However, Sanford, 30% 3-point rate. 3.5 points of value between my line and the game line. This just doesn't feel like the spot. Kermit, I love you, but I'm coming for you. It just ain't today. App State against North Carolina. Again, fine. I think it's closer to 11, 12 points. Line's 14.5. But the one thing Appalachian State's been struggling with is 2-point defense. They've been fine defending the 3. They struggle offensively. That doesn't sound like a good time to bet them when they're facing North Carolina in Chapel Hill. I mean, that's basically what Carolina does, or at least has done under Roy. I have not followed them as closely under Hubert, but plus coming off a waxing. Yeah, we'll just sit that one out. 2. UTSA, Illinois State. I mean, we're getting thin here. 3.5 points, and that's a big number for a bad team. UTEP, big number. North Carolina Central, real bad team. So you're asking for a lot from NC Central, and I'm not seeing enough to go there. Last game I'd consider. Well, there's 2 I'd maybe think about. So another 5.5-point spread where I think the game is closer to a pick'em, although not as strongly as the other ones we've mentioned earlier. So I would want the full 6. KenPom has it at 7. The line's 5.5. So that is one I would watch and likely sit it out. But if the number got 6 or above, sure, I'd go there. Florida A&M, Arizona State. Yeah, no. Arizona State's found some stuff defensively. They haven't found it offensively yet. I think I'm right with this number. I do think it's closer to 12, 13 points, but there's just not much buffer there. Merrimack, Maine. If this had been at the KenPom number, I thought we had a shot here. And Merrimack's not good by any stretch, but Maine, she's rough. So at 7.5, I am for sure out. But if for whatever reason it dropped, I'd probably go there. But I'd want to get it down to at least 5. So even if a 6 popped up, it's like, nah, no thanks. Still a road game for a bad team. So that's it. It's kind of like a paper champion slate of like, on paper, stuff looks pretty good. And then instead of finding a reason to reaffirm a bet, it kept producing reasons to be cautious with the bet in many cases. So that ends me up with a much smaller card than I was anticipating, which is fine. But based on current numbers, I don't see a whole lot of reason to wait. So Ball State's at 13. KenPom is 12. I don't know. Could drop, but I'm fine with 13 there. Jacksonville, Pitt. Oh, man. I mean, I would love to get any extra points in these scenarios because it could come down to it. And Pitt did beat Champagne-less St. John's team over the weekend, but 5.5 I think is the best we're going to do given the pace of that game. I'm fine with Utah Valley plus 5. I don't think that changes a whole lot. Nicholls State, Oregon. I feel like it should move, but people understand that Oregon State is really, really struggling. And then Grand Canyon, Nevada. I just think that actually is a pretty good matchup for Grand Canyon. I think that could frustrate a Nevada team, and they kind of have some matchup advantages, mainly in getting to the rim, defending the rim, and I think their pace can frustrate Nevada too. It's just I want more points there, so I'd want 6+. So this is a tough one. That's where I ended up. There is, I think, one more big card on Wednesday, and then Thursday is pretty light, and then you get a break. Right after the break, I'll actually be in Las Vegas, so the show quality will go down, but my attention and effort will probably go up. So that is it for me. Thank you for stopping by, cutting down the nets.